Welcome to your reset with Christiane Piano, where the purpose is to support you in releasing all that you are not, so the truth of who you really are can emerge. This is accomplished through working with the body-mind from an ontological perspective. We use various modalities to support you in supporting yourself exactly where you are, so that you may return to an experience of wholeness and ease, moment by moment. Deep reflection is one of the greatest tools through which to do this. To take a moment, to pause, assess, reflect, and literally and figuratively reset, come back to center, and move back into your one and precious life with increased clarity and purpose. Hello, this is Christiane Piano, and this week's episode is a reflection on gatherings. The holiday season is a popular time for gatherings with friends, family, and colleagues. And while some gatherings are voluntary, others are motivated by a sense of duty or social obligation. Last week's reflection on family provided an opportunity to piggyback on that topic. So if you have not yet listened to that episode, I highly suggest doing so prior to proceeding here. To make the most use out of this episode for yourself in your own life, reflect on your feelings about gatherings. Which do you anticipate with pleasure? And which do you approach with reluctance? You see, the whole point of a gathering is to join together in a shared experience. And so it can be helpful, prior to meeting up, to reflect on what type of experience you would like to invite others into. The gathering does not begin when everyone invited has arrived. Oh, no. One thing to always keep in mind is a gathering starts the moment it's announced, not when everyone arrives. So let's use breaking bread with family as an example. Do you have a tradition of sharing a meal with your family of origin over the holiday season? If so, what are the challenges you face? Is there a repeating pattern that you have noticed over the years? Why do you attend? Pure joy, obligation, perhaps mixed feelings? Do you enjoy the company of everyone present? Are there any tensions present? What are the unsaids, the elephant in the room, so to speak? What is present in the room that no one is speaking to? These are just some prompts to get you started. And to get the most out of this episode, feel free to pause here and reflect, write down or make a mental note for yourself about your relationship to a specific gathering you may feel most challenged about. It is helpful to remember that each gathering is a complex interplay of emotions influenced by family ties, shared history or not, cultural traditions, and individual and group dynamics. There is a lot of shared history or herstory, and each person usually has their own version based on their experience and perspective. Getting clear on yours can be extremely supportive, especially when you find yourself in moments of feeling triggered, challenged, or simply in difficulty. The simple matter of the fact is, how we meet and why matters. And it is not necessarily vocalized or shared. Rather, it tends to be assumed. And this can be a topic of conversation for yourself. So if you're hosting an event, you can get clear with everyone invited from the start of the evening by announcing your why for the gathering and why it matters to you. It can even be a conversation piece as you sit down around the table. It creates a collective shared moment, and it invites a conversations for others to open up and share. To add to this could even be a bold commitment and purpose that each individual decides they want to bring to the gathering. Not in the sense of food, drinks, or refreshments, but a way of being. This will support setting the tone for the meal. There's a beautiful quote by the American author and educator Emily S. Boutin. She stated, "True wisdom lies in gathering the precious things out of each day as it goes by." So the question is, what is the most precious about the shared moment in your day together, as individuals or as a group? Depending on the family dynamics, this may be something you can invite everyone to be part of, a conversation, or perhaps this is just something you get clear on for yourself and bring with you in your way of being. So edit and apply to your situation as needed. The whole purpose of doing this is simply because when we don't examine the deeper assumptions behind why we gather, we end up repeating old, perhaps expired formats and ways of being, and then we forego the possibility of creating something memorable, fresh, and alive. Now, sometimes we become emotionally attached to a form or way of doing things, especially when connected with tradition, even after it no longer accurately reflects the values, beliefs, and expressions of the individuals coming together today. So a question to be with is, what would I like to bring to the table? What type of connection would I like to create? How deeply would I like to touch others who I am sharing this meal with? So the question, who would I like to be, as the person you are responsible for is yourself, the choice of who one wants or aspires to be is a job of inner workings and highly personal. And if your focus is on who you are being, the rest will take care of itself. The mind naturally and easily goes to the knots based on the picture in your mind. And reality rarely matches up with this picture and can resort in all sorts of drama, challenges, and past experience can end up being very present. But this can be interrupted at any moment, and there is a possibility to start again at any moment. It is supportive if you create the space to become aware and clear out anything that will get in the way of this. This that I'm speaking to, a deeper connection with who you find in front of yourself today. And you do this prior to going to the gathering. Starting as a tabula rasa, and begin again and again and again, as much as needed, throughout the family gathering. What is important is that if you are going to go and fully participate with your presence, that you are fully there, all of you, fully present from start to finish. And remember, the start is not the moment of the gathering. It is the moment you are invited. So, what is needed to prepare yourself? What can you do to begin to gain clarity? Clean out in BodyMind so that you are able to show up to the people you are meeting today in the here and now, curious of who they are. Change is a constant, and we never truly know what someone has gone through, maybe going through, or attempting to work through, if you will. If you are an evolving, growing, transforming expression of life, then it is helpful to remember that this can be a light for others, and sometimes, actually more often than not, we can easily forget this. But people sense things and pick up on our shifts and changes. And sometimes they just need a little reminder that you still love them and are interested in who they are becoming as well. Can you meet others where they are today from a space of curiosity and not knowing? Can you bring that space of curiosity, warmth, and welcoming to meet others and their becoming from where they are today? There is a beautiful quote by the Buddha. Drop by drop is the water pot filled. Likewise, the wise man gathering it, little by little, fills himself with good. If you allow yourself to simply be who you are today, then you will have the capacity to meet each person in the same way, with grace, love, and acceptance. This will be one of the greatest gifts you can offer. It is like giving an embrace of warmth and love, and as you look into the eyes of each and every, letting them know from your way of being that you love, respect, and accept them as they are, even if you do not share, understand, or may even be confused by their life choices. You hold space for them to simply be who they are underneath all of that. You meet people from the depths from which you have met yourself. And this experience creates a deep exhale and relaxing within. It is welcoming and quite rare, but definitely possible. The Buddha stated, "As a bee gathering nectar does not harm or disturb the color and fragrance of the flower, so does the wise move through the world." If you are looking to foster deeper connections, I suggest these conversation starters that have enriched my own life and those I break bread with today. I personally present it as a game to foster a playful and inquisitive atmosphere, and the glue of connection it creates at times can feel some sort of magical. There is nothing magical about it, but there is this indescribable beauty that unfolds when people feel seen and heard when they least expect it. Now, some general guidelines apply to foster an environment of full-on presence. And I'm sure this won't come as a surprise to you, but no cell phones at the table is a big one. Turn off televisions, radios, and create and set a stage for diminished distractions. It is an invitation for human connection, which leads to an atmosphere of encouragement to share of oneself. But it is important to remember that not everyone at the table will necessarily be accustomed to this. As in our modern day world, there are so many distractions, and many, perhaps most of our daily interactions, are surface level for a whole host of reasons. We won't go into that today, as I would imagine that if you are listening to this podcast, you are already someone who is interested in exploring deeper connections with yourself and this naturally leads to an invitation to others you connect with to do the same. Your quality of presence, your state of being, emanates outward like a bright light. So if this is the first time a person or a group of people find themselves at your table, provide them a warm, safe, comfortable setting that invites a relaxing into an opening of who they are and where they find themselves in their life voyage. To get comfortable with having full attention and focus on them. A whole table of people being with and for another can take some getting used to. It is powerful and humbling. Over time, people will look forward to breaking bread with you, as they will start to get a feel for how life-giving and beautiful it is to sit around a table with people who are fully present and interested in what is happening in their orbit. There is a freedom to express oneself without the risk of judgment, and a space to breathe, laugh, cry, and simply share in a deep human connection. So here are some basic topics you may possibly want to explore with others as you break bread with them to foster a soul-touching human connection. I'll suggest 3. One topic is giving thanks. Each person around the table says at least one thing they are grateful for. Everyone at the table listens fully and attentively until that person is complete, and then the next person goes. Now, to set this up, you'll want to choose who goes first, and the order is up to the group at the table. I personally like to give options. The first is either go in a circle clockwise or counterclockwise, or who goes first then chooses who goes next. It can be fun setting up the rules of the game together, and being the person who has played before, it is helpful to simplify by giving options and offering to go first if necessary, to get the ball rolling and create a fun atmosphere that will open up the conversation as an avenue for deeper connection. The second topic, what you appreciate. When it is your turn, you go around the table one by one and say something you appreciate about each individual around the table. Even if you have never met the person before and this is the first time, perhaps even that evening, this is very possible. Now, this is one of my all-time favorites, as you don't know if someone does not tell you, and the result is people feeling so uplifted. Often, people are surprised to hear all the beautiful experiences others have in their presence. And more often than not, people do not realize the positive impact their presence in others' lives has. It's like serving up soul food. And once again, how you set this up, whose turn, who goes, it's up to the group, and you can set up options. So last but not least, the topic would be, say something that surprises you about the other person. And again, the setup of who goes first can follow the previous topics, as they easily run into the other and set the stage for new layers of connection as time passes. So, no matter what situation you find yourself in during your holiday gatherings this season, may they be an opportunity for discovery, kindness, love, compassion, and deep humility. May they be an invitation to each and every person you find yourself in conversation with, an opportunity for remembering that we never truly know who we are, let alone another person. When we have completed with the past, then something new is possible in our relationships today. There is an exercise for completion in the episode for family. So if you have not done that yet, perhaps you'll want to go back into that episode and complete it prior to your gatherings. I will leave you with this final quote by Zen master Bon Swang. The more we stay in the dream of who we think we are, the less able we are to connect with what is actually happening in front of us and find some simple, fresh, and alive way to respond to the moment. This practice is a revolutionary act because it alters the structure of what we think and allows us to drop into what is. I do hope you found this episode supportive. Please feel to share it with someone you know, like, or follow. I am excited to announce coming in January of 2025 is the Reflections Club. Please join me and a vibrant community of individuals from all over the globe who are passionate about the benefits of body-mind well-being. For more details, check out my website, www.christianpiano.com, and head on over to the podcast page for information on the ins and outs and how to join. I hope to see you with us.